Desmond Tutu's 80th birthday celebrations on Friday. This after the exiled Dalai Lama cancelled his trip to South Africa, saying he was not granted a visa in time for his planned flight. The Archbishop had invited the Dalai Lama to the birthday celebration as a private guest. Tutu says the international community is also disappointed by South Africa's actions, saying they expected better of South Africa considering its history of oppression. The Department of International Relations, Clayson is in our Pretoria studios this morning. Let's get some clarity on this. Clayson, welcome to Morning Live. Thanks for joining us.
Leanne and the Morning Live viewers, good morning.
Clayson, Deputy President Motlanthe has been quoted by newspapers saying the government was planning to grant the Dalai Lama a visa. Is this true? Has it happened? Does the Dalai Lama have a visa to visit South Africa this morning?
Yeah, Leanne, you know, I need to just take you back a little bit. You see, the statement that was released by the Dalai Lama the day before yesterday announcing the cancellation of his trip. In that statement you will see that there is an acknowledgement that his original passport was only submitted on the 20th of September, which means it's only on the 20th of September that we could call the visa application as submitted to the High Commission in New Delhi a complete visa application. That application was then subjected to the normal visa application processes. It was still under consideration when he took the decision to cancel his trip. What is important for us to emphasize, Leanne, is that the South African government has not refused to grant him a visa. We've not said no to him. We've not refused to grant him entry into the country. We were still considering the application when he took the decision to cancel.
So there is absolutely no procedure taken by the government in awarding visas to high-profile visitors such as the Dalai Lama. I mean, the 20th of September, submitting for a visa, is that not in time for somebody like the Dalai Lama?
You see, the issue of visa applications is that every application is considered on its own merits. If you apply for a visa to other countries, they will tell you that it could take anything between 7 days to up to 6 months in other countries. So the processes were still underway. It was still under consideration when he decided to cancel the trip and communicated that decision to our High Commission in New Delhi and also released a statement to the public.
So Clayson, if I'm understanding you correctly now, what has happened is that you are now shifting the blame to the Dalai Lama, saying that he cancelled the trip and it wasn't the fault of us for not granting him a visa. So this actually has now been shifted to the Dalai Lama. I mean, the trip, he was meant to be here already. He hasn't got a visa. Now you're saying it's because he cancelled the application.
No, I'm not shifting the blame. I'm just articulating the facts as we know them, the facts before us. The facts are there was an application which was still under consideration. The Dalai Lama then took a decision which was announced publicly that the trip had been cancelled for the reasons that he articulated in his statement. So we were still considering the application.
How long do you consider applications for, as a matter of interest?
No, this is what I was referring to earlier when I said every visa application is considered on its own merits.
Clayson, this is the Dalai Lama. It's not a normal individual that has applied for a visa, somebody that is unknown to the South African government, somebody that is under the radar, somebody that we don't, that you have to do background checks on. This, let me repeat, is the Dalai Lama. And I have an authority, we've been told that the visa application is actually still in Delhi. Is this true? It hasn't even arrived in South Africa.
You see, without really getting into the technical issues, because you know visa applications are not done in public. When an individual applies for a visa, the expectation is that the relevant authorities will process the documents and respond to the applicant. So it's not done in public. So we will not necessarily venture into discussing the technical issues around this particular application. What I can tell you is that the application was under consideration when a decision was taken to cancel the trip without necessarily discussing the merits of this particular application.
Clayson, there are reports saying that the Desmond Tutu Foundation has urged the visa application, if it was going to be allowed that the Dalai Lama could enter the country, that it would be announced that his visa application has been approved and he is able to come through to the country, and that they would urge him to try and still come through for Archbishop Desmond Tutu's birthday. Has this application now been accepted? Is the Dalai Lama allowed into the country?
No, Leanne, this is what I'm saying, that there is no government in the world that will do what you are asking us to do now, to discuss a visa application by an individual in public. I don't think any government should be expected to do that. So we will not respond to the applicant through the media. There's an application which was submitted, which was still under consideration when a decision was taken to cancel. We were going to respond to the applicant who has now decided to cancel his trip. I hear you saying there's been a request now to the Deputy President. I'm sure the Office of the Deputy President will respond to the Desmond Tutu Foundation.
Clayson, every person, I imagine, is finding it very difficult to understand this as we sit and listen to your answers telling us that there's procedures and the Dalai Lama can't come in because his application is still being reviewed to let him enter the country. Many people, and not just here in South Africa, but all over the world, are blaming the fact that he cannot come into the country because of the relationship that South Africa has China, the relations that South Africa has with China. Can you confidently tell me now that the indecision had absolutely nothing to do with South Africa's relations with China?
Yes, I can tell you with absolute certainty. South Africa is a sovereign country. We take decisions based on our domestic interests. We're not bullied, we're not pressured, we're not coerced, nor pressurized by anybody. It's absolutely incorrect to suggest that anybody would even attempt to coerce or bully a country like South Africa. The history of this country is very clear that the foreign policy of South Africa is independent. There are various examples which we can cite where we've taken our own decisions, where people that we've got strategic partnerships with did not necessarily agree with our decisions. So it's not true. There is no government in the world that could even try to influence us to take a decision that we don't agree with. Absolutely not true.
Clayson, it's very difficult once again to be having this conversation, because if one goes back to the year 2009, when once again we were having the conversation that the Dalai Lama was refused entry into South Africa due to a visa because he was supposedly going to overshadow the World Cup. That is another issue. This is happening once again. I think this is too coincidental. Don't you agree?
Yeah, you see, the facts, Leanne, which I think people are conveniently ignoring or deliberately forgetting. In 2011, the issue that we're talking about now, the Dalai Lama made a public announcement through a statement which he released that he has decided to cancel his trip. Our response is that his visa application was still under consideration. It wasn't our decision to cancel. He took the decision when we were still considering his application. So I don't know what the confusion is there.
Clayson, the confusion is that he was meant to be in the country already and he's still waiting for a visa. Would you not cancel your trip? You have to book plane tickets, you have to make your arrangements, and you don't have a visa. These things can't happen overnight. You need planning ahead. And unfortunately, the South African government is not allowing him to do that.
No, you see, it's incorrect for you to suggest that the South African government is not allowing him to do that. I've told you that we have not refused to grant a visa. The visa application, which by his own admission could only be processed after the 20th of September, given that that's the date on which his original passport was submitted. Remember, Leanne, there is no country in the world that will process a visa application without the original passport. So those are the facts. we didn't deny him entry into the country. He has cancelled his trip whilst this application was still under consideration.
Well, we'd love to have that conversation with other countries if the Dalai Lama is the person applying for the visa. But unfortunately, we are led to believe that it's because of procedures that he was not given a visa. Clayson, thanks for coming on and explaining. Clayson Munyela is he is from the Department of International Relations, explaining this visa debacle.